In today's Clash Royale video, we're going to take a look at the final game from Mugi to clinch the championship of the Clash Royale World Finals, and also at the same time winning $250,000 in the final here against Petro. If you guys didn't know that, if you guys didn't watch it, I think most of you guys did. Petro actually came off the winner bracket, so Mugi had to win, or has to win, 2 best of 3s there. The first best of 3 we currently won 1. This is the deciding game. If Petro wins this one, he's going to be the Clash Royale World Champ for this year. If Mugi wins this, we're going to get a reset and another best of 3 with completely new dual sets and just starting at 0-0. This will be the deciding one. So really interesting deck choice here. Petro goes in for Mega Knight Prince with Hog Raider, also a deck which I used, but in this type of matchup, of course, way better than like my matchup I had. I think I played against E-Giant, so of course really good deck choice there for Petro, since like all of the kind of counters were like out there. I feel like he has still had NATO, but he couldn't play E-Giant and so on, so just like Mega Knight made sense at this point. Also in the game, like the game number 2, Petro already was really close to win, but Mugi actually won this game with a Mega Knight deck, Bowler and Goblin Giant. Really weird game, really weird deck. So early on, Mugi gets a ton of decent amount of chip damage, really good miner there. To be fair, like Mugi had to be really careful there, like with the right miner timing, because otherwise the Mega Knight maybe would have jumped back on top of the miner and also on top of the tower, and there would have been a huge problem. So Mugi now needs to respond with perfect spear golem, since like he doesn't have like any mini tank and cycle, right? Ghost can be so helpful for Petro, especially with the Evolution Firecracker. I think like Evolution Firecracker Ghost is like kind of the chance for Petro to win this matchup. So really good. Spear Golems. The spear is also going to chip away on the left hand side, actually giving him the damage lead overall on the left hand side. So he just uses now his little prince in the back. He just goes with like for wall breakers opposite lane, forcing out arrows from Petro. If he decides to want to apply them, he decides to not to. Okay, so he just goes in for a lock here. Really good lock there for Mugi. Now he's using a really interesting bomb tower. I wouldn't have played the bomb tower, but like it makes sense, right? Like just getting value off the Mega Knight, getting value on top of the prince, and also kind of baiting out the ghost. So right now I think like, yeah, Mugi just decides to go poison. He doesn't want to deal with the evolution cracker. Makes sense, right? And now he just goes in for the wall breaker, kind of predicting the Mega Knight in the middle. So we're forcing out an arrows there, which makes sense. He doesn't have Evo recruits and cycle, but also Petro, like really good miner there. Petro doesn't have his okay, is he gonna go also for a lock? No, he is not. Petro also doesn't have his Evo Firecracker in hand. So this is like a really solid push there. Mugi needs to go now for a lock whenever he can. He goes in for the lock. He goes in now for this. He also goes in for like wall EC. He also uses his spear goblins there. But the Hog Rider still gets a shot. We still didn't see Petro's last cut in this type of like game, or like I overall thought it would be the zap, but it wasn't the zap. I think it's most like the EQ there. He used Fireball. He used already like poison game number 1. He used the lock already. He used the Bane Ball already, so if you would have had like a zap in this type of position, that would have been absolutely massive. So just using ability there makes sense, I think. And now I think he's just gonna go miner there. Also gonna go wall breaker, and like just like forcing out a ton of elixirs here, right? Like forcing also 5 elixirs and from Petro there, making like a minus plus or like an even trade, and still got some damage. So because he's just gonna go goes in for recruits on top of the Mega Knight and also on top of the Prince. And what I think Mugi does really well, which most of you guys wouldn't have done this in type of situation, is that Mugi even like pre-places his bomb tower, even he knows his opponent's bomb has like Hog Rider, right? So he's still using his bomb tower also against like the Mega Knight Prince push, because he knows he need to, otherwise he doesn't have another mini tank besides recruits. It will be really hard for him to stop, so he's not really like panicking, and goes in for the bomb tower early on to just get like this extra splash on top of the Mega Knight Prince and so on. So really smart thing here once again, using his bomb tower early, and it's not caring too much about the Hog, since he knows his king does activate. He's still got lock, he's still got little prince, and this is kind of what makes Mugi so good, that he's like not just like saving one card for another, also using it in different ways, and not just like always defending the Hog Rider with bomb tower, also as I said, mentioning using also the little prince there. So really good locked here. I don't know if poison is not enough. I think Mugi also didn't know that. Okay, he just goes in for that. Now he needs to go for his bomb tower. He just gonna go in for wall breaker. And now the game is over here. GG's well played. Mugi played this absolutely incredible. Now we're in a grand final reset and a best of 5. A best of 3 for $125,000. You just need to win 2 games to win $125,000, and this is absolutely crazy. I mean, I was in the position last year. I lost $125,000, so I can tell you guys, this is not really too nice. And I feel like Mugi is like the only real, like, I know, like, you kind of see like how people, like, of course you kind of see sometimes the relief on Mugi's face, or like how he reacts and so on. But I think like the craziest thing is just like with Mugi that he's like a robot, right? He's just a machine. He's like really a machine. He's just like sitting there and playing his Clash Royale gameplay, which is just so crazy. So in this type of matchup, we finally see a deck pick, which I was this is kind of the deck pick. I don't want to say that I'm the GOAT deck picker, but I was actually talking to Jules. He was like sitting in one row in front of me. I was like, okay, bro, if I'm Mugi now in this type of situation, I'm gonna play Mega Knight Goblin Giant, because I feel like Patrick's in a situation where he doesn't feel too much, like, not really too comfortable. So he's most likely just gonna use his main deck, right? I don't know like exactly which Mortar deck, but I was really sure Patrick's gonna use a Mortar deck. And if you guys wanna counter Mortar currently, you just wanna use Mega Knight Goblin Giant. This is like one of the best counters in the game. And yeah, this is exactly what Mugi did there. So maybe I should retire as a player and just gonna coach Mugi, even if he doesn't meet me. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, just like some thoughts there. So it's like, this matchup is so good for Mugi. He got Rage. He got Evo Bats, which is so good. And also at the same time, which is so strong for him, is, I know, like, Goblin Giant, he doesn't have like goblins, right? The goblins are sometimes like still so good against Goblin Giant, but like he got like skeletons and bats. Rage gets so much value, the Goblin Giant gets so much value, the Little Prince gets massive value, and just like Evo Bats also really good. So I would honestly say this matchup is like so good for Mugi, and there was a really good snipe on his end. So he messes up the bats there. It's like the only big mistake I saw. So like yeah, I mean, this was also like not the best miner there. So like, of course, people are doing mistakes instead of plays, and this is gonna be fine, right? Like, I'm not gonna say like Mugi overall plays really well. Part 2 also was absolutely incredible, right? But I feel like nobody can really understand how hard it is to be in this position. I mean, I can understand it because I was in a position, but just like, I know, it's like so tough. You're just trying to do your best, and most likely in the final, you will never see the best Clash Royale gameplay. This is also, I feel like, a ton of people like talk about in football matches, or like soccer for some weird Americans, how you're gonna call that. I was just joking, right? Normally, in most of the cases, the Champions League final and also like the normal finals aren't really like, maybe they're sometimes happening tough goals, but like gameplay wise, this type of like finals aren't the best out of the best. People are nervous. It's just about winning, right? It's just about winning this type of like finals and so on. So mostly the best Clash Royale games, gameplay wise, are before the finals. Of course, sometimes it can happen, but regularly, normally you kind of see the best Clash Royale gameplay not in the final. Here, just like kind of my opinion there. So Mugi's gonna chip away on both sides a bit. Petro so far didn't get any damage, and now it's time for Mugi here to go in for the Goblin Giant back. Petro just decides to go for the mine opposite lane, trying to generate some chip damage, and also gets a damage lead so far. So he's just gonna go for Fireball there. And he also goes in for the Rage because he knows that, right? The Goblin Giant is doing so much work. Just gonna go Little Prince there. Evo Bats are not doing the optimal job here, but it's fine. Little Prince is gonna shred the Evo Mortar, and I think this is kind of what Petro didn't want to happen. By the way, look at this Fisherman. So much value. Yeah, but I feel like Petro in this type of situation, he doesn't really want to use the Evo Mortar in this type of situation. So once again, just gonna go in here. And as you guys can see here, like, just like, look at this damage, right? Look at this damage. He's just going to be able to get so much damage. He's just going to Fireball Rage on top of the Goblin Giant and just deal so much damage. And Petro isn't able to kind of like get any tower damage, right? He can't get any damage. That was, by the way, a really great prediction. So really well played by Petro. Also, Mugi didn't get the ability, which was kind of surprising. But once again, he just goes in opposite lane. And he also knows Snowball is out of hand. Snowball is out of hand from Petro. So look at the bats. Look at the Goblin Giant just getting massive chip damage, and this is what he does. This is what Mugi does, right? He knew, okay, it was a good play by Petro, but he just absolutely punished that, and he got like almost the same damage, even like I think a bit more damage than the Mortar did. And as long as he's like doing the same damage as Petro, he will win this game. So just goes in Magnet opposite lane. Petro needs to go Valkyrie there. And now he goes in for another Goblin Giant. He goes in for Goblins now. His poison needs to come down, and I think he's just gonna go for the Rage here. He just also uses like bats, that's very optimal, but still Goblin Giant gets like one shot. Goblin Giant almost gets two shots, so now here in this type of case, Mugi still needs to be careful, right? Because otherwise, if the Evo Mortar connects, it's over basically. So it was a really good minor Mortar push there, minor, how's like I call it, minor bats push. And of course, what Mugi does now is like really smart. He uses the Goblin Giant this time in the same lane. He just wants to make sure that Petro's not going to be able to get like any damage. And Petro's kind of coming back. He also used the poison here to kind of gap, or like kind of making it a bit closer the gap between the damage advantage from Mugi and himself. So once again, like this is like here the play. So he decides to apply pressure immediately now, since he knew Evo bats are on hand, right? And Evo bats are kind of what like does the job there. So he just uses like the Evo bats there, the combination with that. Goblin Giant is on tower. He just goes to go on fireball, and the tower is down. And I think Mugi played this really, really well. Overall, good thing, of course, Mugi has matchup there, but he got some early damage, and this is exactly what you don't want as a cycle player. I know it myself, you guys know it yourself. When you're playing a minor cycle controller, you never want to be behind, because then you need to play aggressive mortars all the time. And normally you kind of just want to play mortars aggressive defensively all the time, using as a defensive unit to counter the Goblin Giant, but also like try to apply a pressure on opposite lane, or like offensively that your opponent needs to commit something. But you never really just want to play against the beatdown deck. You're mortar at the bridge without having like an elixir advantage. But Pedro had to do it to kind of get back to the game. Mugi punished that, and this is why he's like up 1-0 and 1 game away from the championship. Okay guys, game number 2 was actually interesting one. Both players decided to raid, something I didn't really expect, but both players raided there. And also, I don't know, it's like absolutely crazy to see Mugi winning this matchup, because on paper Pedro had everything, but I just feel like this was a game where like just experience paid off so much. But look at the start, right? Mugi went with a Rambo in the back, and Pedro just decided to go in for his bowler in the back. So Mugi played his Mother Witch there, and now Pedro just goes in for the Goblin Giant. So Mugi decides to cycle Lumberjack opposite lane just to apply some pressure. But look at this now, right? He needs to go Scaling high. He goes in Scaling high. And now he just goes and recruits in front of this to make sure to protect it. Pedro gets a clean King activation, also clean Barbarian Brawler. And look at this, right? Look at the situation Pedro has, right? He got Brawler, he got Baby Dragon, he got Tornado, he got the Tombstone on the map, he got the Elixir advantage. He goes in each line in the back and looks so good. The defense, it's just like, it's so hard to defend for Pedro, like, or like for Mugi, this type of big push. But that was a really smart Ram Rider. He knew most likely that Pedro is going to use a Baby Dragon. He doesn't have enough legs for Bowler, but still, I think this situation, it still looks pretty good here. So he's most likely, I would just go Bowler and be behind this, honestly, or I might just go Bowler in the back. Okay, just goes and ball in the back and let the damage go. But Mugi's doing a really good job, like spitting his skate rings, always trying to get as much value as he can, right? So the bowler still does an okay job, I think. He goes in for the Goblin Giant now. Good Goblin Giant, I mean, like, no Goblin Giant, Electric Giant. I saw too much Goblin Giant today, and just overall last couple of days. So he got the cage, really good cage space to make sure not get any lightning value. But now the Evo Archers are coming down. Evo Archers trying to get as much as he can. He goes in for the poison now, really good poison spell there from Mugi. But the Baby Dragon is not gonna go on tower. This defenses, they were picture perfect. Baby Dragon not splashing, Mother Witch staying alive. Piggies are spawning, protecting everything, and getting even more damage on the tower. So just goes in for another Mother Witch there. And once again, defensive E-Giants. But I feel like the play from Pedro is going for the bowler in the back, then going for the E-Giant in front of that, and not just going E-Giant in the back or just E-Giant like half high. He needs to get like the ball in the back, E-Giant in front, and then Baby Dragon, and then maybe get a Lightning or Tornado on something. This is how he wins that, by Tornado. And I don't really think even Lightning is the way. Of course, Lightning can be also the way, but Lightning is really expensive. So I feel like the main way for Pedro is bowler, then the E-Giant, and then the Baby Dragon, and then a Tornado. This is like, in my opinion at least, the push he needs. But once again, he's playing, or Mugi is forcing him out, better to say, to play the E-Giant not in front of the bowler. And Mugi can now, if he gets an E-Giant bowler on the map and he gets a Tornado, this is absolutely undefendable for Mugi there. So this time he got a push, but his E-Giant is almost already dead, right? So he goes in for the poison there. Poison just doing a really good job here. He once again goes in for his E-Giant there, but he goes in for a Lumberjack. He now needs to go Evo Archers. This Evo Archers is doing a great job, right? So still a good cage placement, because the Evo Archers, they not get the maximum amount of damage, because the E-Giant is, the Goblin Cage is pretty slow to them. So this is like really good placement here. So 13 seconds remaining. Mugi's just gonna go in for once again for his pipe of pressure, and now he just, I think, is also going for scaling, which he can just cycle arrows if he wants to, but this game is over. And Mugi played this absolutely incredible. He's, in my opinion, the best player right now. Most likely the best player of all time. He's the only player in Clash Royale history with 2 World Championship titles. So well played, Mugi. Absolutely clean gameplay. And this guy is so good. Of course, I really feel bad for Pedro. This is really bad, but he played an absolutely incredible tournament. Nobody, I think, at the start of his tournament expected him to be in the top in the finals upper bracket players. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my insight there. Let me know what you guys think about the final. You guys enjoyed this type of Clash Royale World Finals more than the last years. I don't know how many you watched already, but let me know kind of the feedback on this Clash Royale World Finals. If you guys like the stage more, you guys like last one. I really feel like this stage was absolutely incredible. And I would say I'm out. Thanks for watching, guys. Check one of the other videos out, and we're gonna see us tomorrow for next Clash Royale episode.